Welcome back to the Terry and Jesse Show. This segment's being sponsored by Real Estate for Life. These are pro-life agents who will sell your home or help you buy a home. And then the commission they normally get, a portion of it will come right back to Virgin Most Powerful Radio. If you don't, you can go to our website, vmpr.org, look under donations and click on Real Estate for Life. But if you just call 877-543-3871 and just tell them you're wanting to support Virgin Most Powerful Radio, it doesn't cost you an extra penny at all, but it supports us here at VMPR. That number, once again, 877-543-3871. All right, Matthew, my teaser from the break was, what is going on in California? Now, you and I both live in Southern California for most of our lives. All of our lives. I was just thinking about that.
Yeah, I was born here.
Yeah, I was just saying, wait a minute, Matthew, we're both in the same boat. And we've seen a lot of crazy things, but in California, as I said, they have this law from a couple of years back that says it's a proposition that gives you the authority to steal anything out of a store. As long as it's under $950, it's just a misdemeanor. It's not going to be a serious crime. And now the California Senate last week passed a bill to stop the employees confronting shoplifters. Now, I have to tell you, Matthew, when I saw this article, I was at a drugstore, CVS, here in downtown Covina, Friday night, and my goodness, at 8:30, I was there getting what I needed to get, and there was a young woman stealing a product. I could tell she was stealing it. She just put it in her purse, and she had a big jacket around her, and she was just putting stuff in the cosmetic area in her pocket. Well, what are you going to do? You know, that's what happens out in California. Well, I didn't realize it, but the employees called the police. So when I was checking out, the two cops that came in were looking for this young woman, and they said, well, I don't know, maybe she's hiding in the bathroom. They're looking around. So I'm talking to the employees about this law, and they said, yeah, well, our hands are tied. We can't do anything. And I said, well, you know, when you vote, keep that in mind. No, I did say that. I said, keep that in mind. You've got a Senate, you've got a governor who thinks this is a good thing. Don't vote for him. We got to vote. And anyhow, the employees were just like, well, our hands are tied. We can't even, other than just call the police.
Right. And that's the thing that I think that needs to be emphasized.
Yeah.
Is that not only are they now forbidden to try and do something about it, but they're actually going to be held liable. They'll be in trouble.
Yeah, that's right.
If they try and prevent people from stealing their own merchandise.
Yep.
And I think, you know, the thing that Bishop Sheen said, if I can just comment real quickly,
you know,
that it's not right to say, oh, my sin doesn't affect anybody, as long as I'm okay with it, as long as I'm not hurting anybody. You are probably unaware of this, but there is something in occultism, in modern witchcraft, called the Wiccan Rede, R-E-D-E, which is Old English for rule. Mm-hmm. And the Wiccan Rede is, and it harm none, so mote it be, which is to say, do what you want as long as you don't hurt anybody. And they said, well, that's actually taken from the occultist Aleister Crowley, who you may have heard about, very notorious 19th, early 20th century occultist, who said, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law.
Wow, that's sick.
And they're saying, yeah, but they mitigate it by saying, well, as long as you're not hurting anybody. But what neither of them realize is that Crowley was actually paraphrasing St. Augustine.
Yeah.
St. Augustine said, love and do what thou wilt.
Yes. Yeah.
See, that's the point. As long as you love God and your neighbor, as long as that's first, you're not going to do anything sinful.
Exactly.
How much are you loving your neighbor if you're stealing from them? And the other thing too is that it's not a victimless crime. Now, and you mentioned earlier, they try and justify it by saying, well, Walmart's got all the money in the world. Why not stick it to Walmart? What's the problem? Let me tell you a personal story.
Good. We love stories.
I used to be in a band, and I worked all night, 9 to 1:30, pretty much every night, 1:30 in the morning. And then they close the bars at 2. And so my schedule was weird, right? I'd sleep in the day. I would get up at noontime. And so we would we'd have a meal after work, which is normal, but we called it breakfast because it's technically morning, right? Mm-hmm. And Carl's Jr. was one of my favorite fast food places. I can't afford to eat at a fast food place anymore, speaking of California. I used to drive through Carl's Jr. If I was playing at a club where there was one close by, I would drive through Carl's Jr. and I had a very favorite thing. It was the Carl's Jr. steak sandwich.
Okay.
And I loved them. And then one day I was in the drive-through and they just said, "Oh, sorry, we don't have those anymore."
Wow.
I mean, they had them yesterday and now they don't. No, there was no announcement or anything. They were just gone. Years later, they had another thing called a crisp burrito. It was the greatest thing ever. It was essentially a chimichanga. It was a shredded beef and cheese and chili burrito that's deep fried.
Oh boy.
That'd be terrible for you, but boy, did they taste good, right? The crisp burrito. Same thing. I go through the drive-through one night and I get my crisp burrito. I come back the next day. Sorry, those are discontinued.
Wow.
Well, you know what? I wound up years later talking to somebody who worked at Carl's Jr. And do you know why those things? Because they were super popular.
Yeah. Why?
But why were they discontinued? Because of what they call shrinkage, right? Shrinkage is when people steal things, right? Your inventory shrinks and you don't get remunerated for it. Well, apparently those things were so popular, the employees would steal them. They would make them for themselves and not pay for them.
Wow.
And so the corporation looks at the bottom line and is going, gosh, the shrinkage is so high. These must be really difficult to make. They must be a real problem or something must be going on that they're throwing all of these away. Well, they weren't throwing them away. They were eating them and they were making them for themselves, which is a nice way to say they were stealing them. And so thank you so much, Carl's Jr. employees, for stealing so many crisp burritos that I can't ever buy one again.
Well, I'm going to give you another story since we're telling stories. Here in downtown Covina, we had a Walmart. And we were one of the 7 Walmarts in the entire 5,800 stores that they manage in America that closed. And guess one of the reasons why they said they closed the Covina store?
Gee, why, Terry?
Take a guess, Matt. Yeah, it was shrinkage. Yes, people were stealing too much from the Walmart. And
right. Shrinkage is so great that they can't make a profit.
I have a brothers in the food industry for the last 40 years, and they build a X amount of dollars into their margins they have to make profit. They just say, well, we've expected a 2%, loss because of shrinkage, and they build that in. So guess who's paying more for that product? You and I, Matt.
Yep.
So, and again, this is coming back to the 7th commandment that we're going to read right out of the catechism a little later. Thou shalt not steal. And the thing about it, Matt,
do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Yeah.
Would you like the owner of Walmart to come into your house and just take stuff?
Of course not.
And would you like it to be that the governor said if you tried to stop him, you'll go to jail?
Yeah, this is ridiculous. This is how mixed up we are.
And is that coming?
Yeah. Well, that's why we here at Virgin Most Powerful Radio have a world biblical view. That's different. That says, no, we have to be responsible, and that we're going to follow these commandments because this is where happiness lies too. Not only just being faithful to God in our morality, but, being faithful, honoring thy father and thy mother, the 4th commandment, there comes blessings with that. So, we're trying to sell a product, Matthew, the 10 commandments that God gave to us on Sinai many thousands of years ago. And certain people are saying those are antiquated laws. No, nothing really has changed, Matthew, if we think about human nature. And if I'm incorrect, show me how it's changed. The human nature is people will constantly be tempted to steal. And this is why these laws that are coming into California are serious problems, because what goes in California goes east to other states. And, when I think about this whole idea that we're supposed to allow people, we're blessing people for bad behavior. That's how I described it to the employee. I said, when are we going to stop telling people that it's okay for bad behavior? Because when this happens, and I'm going to relate it back even further than just stealing in the stores, but we are actually allowing that with children in the education system right now. Right. They get away with murder. Now, I don't mean literally murder, but you know what they're saying in the schools? Because I have school teachers, friends, they're not going to correct kids when they act violent in a school or they say things foul. There was a time when you and I were in school, Matthew, that if you did, spit wads, okay?
Right, yeah. Oh, I know. Father Bill McCarthy, God rest his soul.
Yeah.
He more than once, he published this list of, and this is back in the 90s, probably,
Yeah, I
early
remember.
2000s, and he would say, here's the number, the top 10 discipline problems in the 1950s. It's
Yeah.
like, chewing gum in class, running in the halls,
Sure.
that kind of thing, smoking in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And now the number 10 thing, murder, rape, violent crime, bringing guns to school.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, wow, what happened